listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. We have spoken many times about our personal emotional story. We've had questions from the audience about what is an emotional story, how do we uncover it, and then how to use it. We have recent experience seeing how being unconscious about your emotional story can literally kill you. And it is at the heart of your difficulties, challenges, and pain in your life. Keep listening. This is a very, very important show. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. It is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, what is an emotional story?
It's not what happened to you in your life, but how you feel about what happened to you in your life.
Okay.
And most of us know, well, very few of us don't know what happened to us in our life.
Correct.
Meaning
we remember things.
We remember things. For example, I'll use my own story. I always knew that my dad was off. He worked for a company, and they wanted to transfer him to another place, and he quit. Basically, didn't want to go, and he tried to start his own company, and that didn't work. And after that, he didn't do anything. Okay. And he must have been, I don't know, it must have been like 10, 15 years. And my mother was a nurse, and she went to work, and she supported the family. And so I knew all that.
Okay.
But it's only now since I've been using the ecosystem approach and uncovering this emotional story that I start to feel how I felt about it. Oh. For example, my dad was very shaming and critical of me. A lot of people have that. Okay. Sure. But I also knew that he was probably mentally ill. We suspect schizophrenia, but he was never diagnosed because he never would go to a doctor about that. You know, he'd never say that there's something. I don't know why I'm thinking these things. I don't, you know, what's wrong with me.
Right.
Nothing's wrong with me. You know, everybody else is the problem. Mm-hmm. So, so you would think, well, if he shamed me and criticized me, then I would say, okay, well, he's not banging on all eight. You know,
it must be him.
It must be him.
Okay.
I still thought it was me. And so is that everybody? Not necessarily, but right. It's a big part of my life. And even now, I'm, how old am I? I'm 70 years old. And I'm still learning.
And not banging on all eight.
Thanks, I needed that. I'm 7 years old, and I'm still seeing how that criticism and that judgment is affecting me. And we've been doing the ecosystem approach, and I've made so much progress since we developed it and started it and using it for ourselves first, of course.
Correct.
But it's there was so much. Mm-hmm. I'm flabbergasted about how much there is. So that's your emotional story.
Well, and how much there is, meaning how you were affected.
Yes.
And how much effect it had on you.
Yes. Now, my sister, who was in the same family, I know that the effect was, there was a lot of similarities.
Yes.
When we get together and we talk about it, we talk about those similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. Mm-hmm. So when we have the question, a listener wanted to know more about emotional stories and wanted examples. And there's infinite number of examples, and it's truly unique to you. But here's some issues that always have negative energy that we've been doing this for a long time, over 20 years, close to 25 now. And we've seen this over and over and over again. And all these issues, and I'm going to talk about them now, I've got a list here, bring up negative emotions some way or another. Different people respond differently.
Of course.
Different Enneagram types respond differently.
Yes.
But here's some possibilities.
Okay.
Preferring one sibling over another.
Yes.
That was your story.
One of them. One part of my story.
It wasn't a big factor in mine, but we don't have to personalize this. Having one sibling, preferring one sibling based on their gender, their sex. I mean, if males are preferred in your family and you're a female, it's a big deal.
Yes.
Preferring a sibling based on a talent or ability. We've seen families where one sibling has this great talent and all the other kids are forgotten.
Yes.
We've heard stories about kids who are preferred based on an illness that they have. So this kid has the illness, and all the other kids
get
forgotten.
Yes.
Dealing with parent with an addiction, conflict within a marriage, all forms of a competition with siblings and with parents.
Correct.
And with the whole family.
Yes.
Divorce, the effects of having to choose between parents over and over again and keeping their story straight, all those things. Sexual abuse, and that always is accompanied with family secrets.
Yes.
Tragedy within a family, a death due to an accident, a death due to a disease, suicide. That affects all. It has a ripple effect that goes goes all around the family. Then there's the normal family, which is probably the most deadly usually, because a normal family that looks normal on the outside has dysfunctional boundaries, possessiveness, neurotic expectations, all sorts of things. Tradition and expectations. You grow up you have to be a doctor like your dad, or a lawyer like your dad, or an accountant, or you have to take over the family business, or like farms that have been in the family for generations. Oh my gosh,
that's a big deal.
I can't imagine the kids in those families not feeling a lot of pressure.
Right.
And then I know for me, judgment and criticism kept me from who I was authentically.
Right.
That's just a little part of what happened to me. There was a lot of support for me in a lot of respects, but that judgment and criticism kept me from who I am authentically.
Right.
I know for you, you were considered the caregiver and domestic support, but that was contrary to your emotional needs.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go back to and this is about giving examples. There was a woman that I knew. I used to be in a women's group, nothing wrong with that. And we were asked around, sitting in a circle, did you have a normal family? And of course I said, no, absolutely not. And but this one woman, she said, oh yes, my family was so normal. My father got up and went to work. My mother cooked and cleaned and did all these things and taught my my sister and I that sort of thing. Well, come to find out that this person that I'm talking about did not have a normal family. The father was running around on the mom, and the mom got addicted to sleeping pills, and then the person that said, yeah, I have a normal family, her husband turned out to be a cocaine addict and was not doing great things to the children. Let me just put it that way.
Sexual abuse.
Yes. And yet this person believed that everything was okay because, and this is the point that I'm trying to make about this, because that was the only way she could survive the traumas, dramas, and tragedies that she had in her life.
Well, and the whole point of this show today is that with the ecosystem approach, you can identify those emotions.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
In terms of how she felt about it, I'm sure that could support traditional therapists,
Forever.
put their kids through college, the
Yes.
whole thing,
Yes.
there's a lot there. But with the ecosystem approach, we see emotions as energies to be removed.
Well, and let me just point this out. The secrets that her parents had, she learned that the energy of the secrets were hers to carry as well,
Yes.
if I could say it that way.
And unless you understand energy or work in an energy realm as opposed
Correct.
to talking about your feelings. And
Correct.
by the way, this is not against any traditional therapy. We know it has some value,
Yes.
but we see as intuitives that work with energy all the time that when you talk about your feelings, it doesn't necessarily remove those energies.
Yeah.
So you can talk and talk and talk and talk, and you might get more perspective.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about what happens when you don't remove those energies in
Yes.
the next segment.
Okay. I like that. Definitely. Anything else you want to say for this segment,
I mean,
Jason?
there was a lot there. So
Yeah, there really
I
was.
guess the important part is that your emotional story is a collection of energies that's attached to your essence, your soul.
I was just going to say that. And when things get attached in that way, we think that it's normal to hold those burdens and that negative stuff. But we've been trained that they're normal. But you and I see that when you get rid of them, this who you truly are emerges.
When what happens, and one more thing, your emotional story gets recycled over and over
and over again.
So where you work, who you love, who you
Yes.
get married to,
Yes.
how your family is, and you always think that, I'm not going to be like my parents, or I'm not going to be like my family at all. Yeah, we've had 25 years of experience seeing that doesn't happen necessarily.
So with that said, in the next segment, we're going to continue to talk about how being numb and unconscious to your emotional story can literally kill you. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show, unscripted, with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to continue to talk about being numb and unconscious to your emotional story, because it can literally kill you. So, Jason, where were we?
I think this is a really good example, and we're
Okay.
going to talk about my mom. And you may have heard this before if you've been listening for a while, but mom came to us about 10 years ago when my dad died. And we knew there was something that wasn't right, but we didn't see the dementia that we do now. It's
progressively, it's gotten
very
much worse.
serious dementia.
Yes.
She also always had a hearing problem, and when she came to be with us, we finally got it checked out, and she got a cochlear implant. And for those of you that don't know, it's basically they put a metal plate in your head, and they have a transceiver and a microphone. It's sort of like a hearing aid, except that
it's a bionic hearing aid.
It's a bionic hearing aid.
There you go.
It basically vibrates in your skull, and that's how you hear.
Yes.
And if you've had language, if you had hearing prior, it actually is easier, because then you hear
the memories, the memory and the understanding of it.
Yes. And she can, it allowed us the basic conversation, but the deep conversations were more and more difficult just because of the hearing.
Yes.
And then the dementia started.
Yes.
But here's what I want to say about this. I think it's fascinating. She has dementia, she has hearing problems, and she's been relatively healthy, but probably she gets in these we see depression,
yes,
hopelessness, self-pity,
yes,
and no purpose. Like, why am I here? What am I doing? I can't do anything anymore. I'm not valuable to anybody.
Right.
And it just gets to be, it's if you see those things as energies like we do, we start to clear them. So when we see those things come up, we start to clear them. We start looking at her emotional story with our intuition.
Yes.
And one of the things that we knew was that she was adopted at birth, but she didn't know about it until she was 20 years old.
That's right.
we've never talked about it. She and I growing up, I mean, it was just like, yeah, that's the way it was, no big deal. Like most people, it's something that happened to them, but they don't know how they felt about it.
Right.
We're seeing it now when she's, basically, she's 93. Um, all those things, all those feelings are coming up. The
Yes.
anger about it, the
Yes.
rage about it, the
Yes.
feeling like,
And the self-pity about it.
self-pity, feeling like she doesn't belong, feeling
Yes.
like she
Yes.
shouldn't be here. She talks about, even with us, and we've created this really nice family unit with the 2 dogs and her and us,
Right.
and we do things together, and it's
We always
fun.
do things as
Yeah.
a family. Yes.
Yeah, and she doesn't belong. It just doesn't make sense.
In other words, what Jason is saying is we have made it so that she is connected to every single part of what goes on during the day because with us, and then others that are around as well. But this happens because I started seeing a lot of how she was feeling disconnected from what was going on. At first, I thought it was her hearing. Well, the hearing is there for the lack of hearing is part of her emotional story as well. But that's not exactly what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I do things every day to make her feel connected. And I would say most of the time she can do that. And then there's been like the last few days, it has been really a challenge.
Well, the truth is that this pattern has recycled probably
over
10
and over.
times.
Yes.
And she'll start to get depressed and hopeless and sad.
And then we clear.
We start removing those energies.
Yes.
We identify them and we remove them. We see that the pain of being not feeling like she belongs, not feeling like she's good enough, not feeling productive, not feeling like she has value. We clear those away and she comes back.
Right.
So when, some people would say to us, and people have said to us, well, she sleeps a lot. So when she gets, and this happened the last couple of days, so it's where it's right fresh, but she started to sleep all the time. She would fall asleep, almost mid-sentence sometimes. She would, she had no appetite. She didn't want to eat,
Correct.
she didn't want to drink.
Yes.
We have one of the things that one of her jobs is to walk.
Yeah.
So she can be able to get to the bathroom on her own and that sort of thing. But she didn't want to do that. She sabotaged it all. This passive aggressive anger.
Yes.
And she would never say that she's an angry person, but we started clearing anger, and boom, we saw all this anger from her past that she's been pushing down.
Correct.
And so we clear it, we clear the self-pity, we clear the hopelessness, and then we start talking to her essence, her soul directly.
Yes.
And you want to talk about?
Well, sure. I went and talked to her essence, and I said to her, okay, you need to talk to me. What's going on? And she basically, did the self-pity thing and that sort of thing. That's what she was talking to me about. And then I reminded her that she hadn't finished, because I see my intuition has told me she hasn't finished the job she came here to do, and it's directly connected to her son. And this job, she was avoiding it. Let me just say it that way. And so she basically was telling me she was going to leave. And I said to her quite straightforward, to her essence, why are you going to leave when you're this close to getting this job done? And all you have to do is let go of these negative energies and get the job done. That's how to do it. And her essence,
and we'll get rid of those negative energies.
We'll get rid of those negative energies for you. And her essence was like, oh, let me think about that. Meaning in her tone of when she's being, I'm going to say, happy and aware and all of these things. Within, I'm going to say, at the most an hour, we started to see a shift from this depression and this I don't want to be here attitude.
Oh,
energy.
I can't walk. I can't move.
I don't.
Just put me to bed. Yeah,
exactly. And we started seeing it, and I have to tell you, it's phenomenal. The way things are,
and we've done this.
The way that they've changed. What?
This pattern has happened 10 times at
At
least.
least.
And
At
she'll
least.
go in and then, and then we'll clear that stuff that was part
And
of
then
her.
she's back moving and going and, asking about my garden and what's for dinner and all of these things. And by the way, I talked to her Essence yesterday afternoon. Last night was the most she had eaten in
Yes.
quite a while.
3 days, 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days. And I also know that because I've seen it in the past, not with her, but with others, that people that are getting ready to leave their bodies, they will they'll rally. But like Jason said a minute ago, she's rallied at least 10 times. And every single time something amazingly new has come forward that either needed to be cleared or an awareness of something, especially in her story, that she had forgotten.
And we get that from our intuition.
That's right.
So what do we get from this? Well, if you just see life and death from a superficial standpoint without understanding energy or emotional story,
as we are programmed to do,
as we're programmed to do,
there you go.
This would be completely invisible.
Yes.
But we're seeing life and death in a certain way, and it's so clear to us that if you're listening right now and you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, and you're not thinking about death, you're not thinking about all those things.
Right.
But if you start removing that negative energy now, eventually it catches up with you.
Yes.
And we see people all the time die of cancer, heart disease, the common diseases, or have a car accident, suicide, loneliness, depression, people that just get depressed and they just stop doing what they need to do to take care of themselves and they die.
Yes, exactly.
That's all negative energy.
Yeah.
OMG, you're not going to get a special pill or something to overtake that. And a lot of that is because we're programmed, we don't know what our purpose is.
Correct. Well, I need to back up and I need to re-say something you said. If you're 20, 30, 40, start now. Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't care what your age is right now. Start today. Start using the ecosystem approach and remove negative energies the way you felt about your story, your emotional story, because removing negative energy before you do step to the other side will make not only this lifetime better, but it will also make that step to the other side easier.
Yes.
And can I tell one more story?
Yeah.
I just have a very good set of friends, twins, and they're lovely people, and their mother just stepped to the other side. And I've been working with their mother. Yes, she did. And I've been working with their mother for about 2 years now. I think it's been. And she ended up having a terminal disease. But I have to tell you, the bottom line is that when she stepped to the other side, her alive that she was when I was helping her get to where she needed to go on the other side was so phenomenal. She was, what about this? What about that? And she could actually see the things that I work with all the time. And it was awesome. And so I just want to say thank you.
That's really special.
You have no idea. And I'm not upset in a bad way. I'm just very grateful that she let me help her because she helped me.
Well, and we need to say this, that we've helped over the years, many people. We don't promote this
part,
option,
yes.
But we do it for clients who have been with us that are trying to learn how to do the ecosystem approach.
Correct.
And we just give them a little assist. A lot of people don't transition easily.
No.
We've seen so many people that when they step to the other side, they're confused, they're angry, they're bitter, they're stuck, they've all
those things,
all these traumas.
And so it doesn't have to be that way.
Here's the most important thing.
Okay.
Your emotional story is a giant jigsaw puzzle that you never finish.
Yes.
So with that, we can go to the next segment.
All right. So that says in the next segment, we're going to continue the conversation and talk about how you work with and uncover your emotional story. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show, unscripted, with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to continue the conversation and talk about how you work with and uncover your emotional story. Okay, Jason, how do you uncover your emotional story?
To us, it seems simple, but it's not, because we've been programmed.
Yes.
We're programmed to focus on our goals. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. Just focus on what you want and
or what you're told to do,
or
you have to be told that you have to be this.
That's that sort of thing. You never think about, well, is this really me? Is this really what I'm supposed to be? So focus on what's happening right now. So your emotions right now. And some of you say, well, I don't know what I feel right now. We've had so many people, well, how do you feel? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
they're taught not to feel.
They're taught not to feel. And a lot of times when they first come to us, they'll say, well, you tell me. I don't know. You tell me. Or if they've been with us for a while, well, you tell me. And it shouldn't be that way. We should know, we should all have refined intuition and know, first of all, how we feel and how we're interacting with the world around us. But
correct.
So let's take some examples. Let's say right now, you don't want to go to work.
Okay.
That's a feeling, maybe you feel blah, maybe you're bored, maybe you have a physical illness. If you can translate that into an emotion, which there's books about that. Louise Hay did that.
Yes, she did.
Made that popular.
And a few other people.
And we do that all the time. So when we're sick, we change it to a metaphor
and say, clear it.
Say, what's the emotion that's here? And then we clear that. So problems and challenges in your life, money, relationships, lack of motivation, just not having any get up and go, not having any boom, any of that. Well, what's the emotion behind that? And if you start to uncover your emotional story, that jigsaw puzzle, you'll say, oh my gosh. One of the things that we do as part of being a couple, we know each other's emotional story.
Right.
So
sorry about that, sweetie.
We're always putting pieces in each other's jigsaw puzzle.
That is correct. In fact, I was just about to say something very, very similar. And anyone who's ever done a jigsaw puzzle knows that for the most part, you can't do one or a good size one in one sitting. And so oftentimes the jigsaw puzzle will be on a board. And I love this. The ecosystem approach, yes, it is, your life is a jigsaw puzzle, but one of the things about removing negative energy, if you think of it as you're walking by the jigsaw puzzle that's on the board, and it might even be upside down, all of a sudden you'll look at the pieces because it calls to you. And one of the things that happens is that you'll see that this piece of this puzzle goes in that place. And that's what the ecosystem approach can do for you. When
you're clearing every day, which we do, we do it so frequently. She'll come into my office, I'll go into her office, and we'll just do some clearing. And it's to put in another piece in that jigsaw puzzle.
Right. Or see that something isn't right and clear, and then watch that piece go in. It's awesome.
The connection that we have, the intimacy that we have is because there's no competition, there's no judgment. No. We're just helping each other put in those pieces of our emotional story and clear them away. And we're so much different than we were when we first got together. What was it, 23 years ago?
24 years ago.
Yes. And so it's just, it makes a huge difference. Now, if you come from a family where everybody's competitive and mom and dad never partnered with anything or gave you a model for how to have a partnership. Your emotional story can be a source of competition. Oh,
absolutely.
I put in two puzzles, but I'm not going to tell you what
pieces they were.
Yeah, what pieces they were, because I don't want you to take it, exploit that for me or judge me about it.
And that happens.
And that happens so often, and that's not really that really hurts people. So if you're if you're using the ecosystem approach and you're trying to put those pieces together, you know, it's good to have friends that are supportive that can help you with
Correct.
that.
Or a
But-
partner. Yes.
But there's also bad to have friends that judge you, abuse you, beat you up, even family members that you say, okay, I just figured out this, and they may say, well, you know, they may exploit that in some way to hurt you.
Exactly. I want to give an example. I started using the ecosystem approach, and I asked my one of my sisters how she saw this particular situation, and she said to me, "I don't remember it that way at all."
Yeah.
And I was like shocked because it had been such an emotional memory for me, and she didn't remember it that way.
The implication is that what you saw was wrong, or that,
implied by all means,
that you missed it, or that something's wrong with you.
Exactly. I was the one that was wrong.
Exactly. So so just be careful when you put those pieces together, and who you put those pieces together with, you know.
Exactly.
The other part is when you remove the negative energy from your emotional story, that's how you develop refined intuition.
Exactly. And that's one of the most awesome things ever, because then when you start having feelings, then you can validate those feelings for yourself.
Yes.
And that's really awesome.
You know, people think you just either have intuition, clairvoyance,
or you don't.
And that's not true at all. We've been developing ours, and it's starting to explode.
Yes.
Evolved consciousness, we talked about that same thing as you remove your negative energy. Here's the other thing. We've heard this lately. People study how to have emotional intelligence, and when you study it as a topic, as a class, or even from therapy, therapy, talking about your feelings doesn't necessarily remove the energy of them. And it's the energy that keeps you from your intuition. It's the energy,
the negative energy of those feelings.
Yes, that keeps you from your evolved consciousness. And that makes all the difference. So so when people say, oh yeah, I've been studying how to be emotionally intelligent, you know, we always kind of look at each other and, you know, chuckle behind the scenes. But it's really what happens when you start to put together the jigsaw puzzle pieces of your emotional story.
Correct.
You start to see how you feel in the world. And when you see those feelings, what happens is you start to have compassion and true empathy for other people, because even though they may not come up to you and say, well, I felt this way, you start to see how they felt.
Yes.
You can, because you're developing your intuition, you're developing your consciousness.
That's right.
It's just right there. That's what we need in the world today.
Yes, we do.
If everybody was working on their emotional story. So if all of a sudden, if the back of your neck, if the hair in the back of your neck is standing up, if you get that feeling up and down your spine, or that little butterflies in your gut, this is for you. Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for a free section. You'll get weekly clearings. You'll get a weekly newsletter that's part of that. And all the things are written out for you, what to say, how to do it, and listen to our show every week.
Well, and I want you to talk about one more thing, and then we'll teach everyone how to remove negative energy.
Okay.
But can you talk about the Enneagram type and what people the importance of understanding that and why?
We could do a whole show about that.
Yes,
but
we have actually.
If you look at your Enneagram type, it gives you a hint about what you can start to clear. So if they have online tests.
Yes, they do.
They're not foolproof, but it'll get you started.
Right.
And you know, if you're a 6, fear and insecurity. If you're a 7, you're the frenzy and the activity and and doing 10 things at once. If you're an 8, the aggressiveness and the bully energy.
Right.
If you're a 9, trying to keep everything peaceful and not make any changes in your life. If you're a 1, trying to make everything perfect, and it doesn't work that way. If you're a 2, if you're trying to love everybody, even though not everybody deserves to be loved or should be loved. If you're a 3 and you're performing in the world and saying you're telling people what they want to hear. If you're a 4, if you're acting out who you are over and over and over again, or if you're a 5 and you're just recycling those thoughts, those logical thoughts
That's
over
right.
and over again.
That is correct.
And
That's trying to make sense of them, and they don't always make sense.
That's a place to start. Take
Yes.
any Enneagram book and you can just read the basic types,
Right.
and you're right there.
And it's, and it's pretty darn awesome when you actually figure out. And by the way, I just want to say this. I read the book from cover to cover and decided that I was not the number that I mean, well, I figured it out later that I wasn't, I wanted to be something else because I knew I didn't like at that time who I was.
Yes. I've had some people say, well, 4 is an artist. And so she thought, since she was literally an artist, that she was a 4, and she wasn't. So
exactly,
those superficial things is what falls away when you start doing the ecosystem
exactly
approach.
So with that said, Jason, real fast, let's teach everyone how to remove negative energy, and then we'll
when
go
we
to the
say
next segment.
and to eliminate, which is the verb, just in your mind's eye, you just gather up those feelings, whatever they are, veils and illusions, barriers, specific feelings, and blow them into the processor. Sierra's going to put the picture of the processor up on the screen.
And if you can't see it,
and
like you're listening,
go to our website, sign up for our free section. When you get the newsletter, there's a picture of the processor there. It's on our website. You can download it and print it out, which is kind of nice too.
Yes, exactly. And then we're going to go down a list, and we're going to remove negative energy. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to activate life force energy, which is the most powerful energy that anyone has access to. And we're going to activate that energy for you and help you with that, but still do some removing of negative energy. So is there something else I wanted to say?
We'll get it next segment.
I guess we will. So here we go. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to remove some negative energy so you can see and perceive your emotional story and know what you can clear, meaning remove, for a better life. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to remove some negative energy so you can see and perceive your emotional story and what you can clear for a better life. So, Jason, you ready to get started?
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the numbness I have to my feelings and emotions about how I felt regarding my life growing up.
Nice and easy. Take a big breath.
Blow those feelings, blow that numbness into the processor.
That's correct. And by the way, I see that negative energy removes easier if you take and put the processor / garbage can to your left. I can't answer why. That's the way I see it. So with that said, and to eliminate the barriers so I can start to see that the dark energy in my emotional story will stay and fester until I die if I don't remove it. Nice and easy. Take a breath. And by the way, the key word there was fester. When people's emotions fester, I would say for the most part, it turns to disease of some kind.
Disease, accidents,
yes,
divorces,
yes.
Just all sorts of self-abuse.
Yes, exactly.
Addictions. The barrier, and to eliminate the barrier so I can see that dark energies in my emotional story has the ability to create illness, disease, relationship issues, and money problems. Everything.
Yes, everything. Okay, so take a breath. Throw all that away. You don't need it. And to eliminate the intense feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress, I have whose source is my emotional story. And nice and easy. Take a breath. Throw it away.
And to eliminate the barrier so I can see that removing the bad energies of my emotional story is essential to have a good life.
Yes. Take a breath.
We don't think that way in the world today. We think that if we just program yourself, everything's going to be fine.
Right.
But we see all these, evidence of people around us that they're breaking down, they're struggling, they're trying to find a way to have a better life, and they don't know how to do it.
So And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that removing we just did that one, my apologies. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that my emotional story identifies the negative energy, the dark energy that is interfering with my life, in my life. Take a nice breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear and terror that I have that always come from my emotional story.
Take a breath. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that my emotional story is a giant jigsaw puzzle that is never finished. But it's really kind of fun putting pieces in there.
Yes.
Their places. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear, hurt, and shame that I have that can be removed when I understand my emotional story.
Nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it out.
One quick thing. Let me do another one. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that when I'm specific using my emotional story, the clearing statements are more powerful.
By all means, we found that to be an absolute truth.
For example, when, and to eliminate the shame I feel when my dad ridiculed me for playing as a little kid, that's much more powerful than saying, and to eliminate the shame that I had as a little kid.
Right.
Right. The more specific you can be, the more powerful it is.
Right. Exactly. I love that part. So, and to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see my whole life has been an expression of my emotional story, repeating itself over and over and over again. And by the way, he wrote this one specifically for me.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see identifying and removing dark energy attached to my personal emotional story will be the most difficult thing I ever do, but also the most satisfying. Take a breath.
And blow out all that negative energy. Jason, I'm going to activate some life force energy, the most powerful energy that we have access to. Follow along, everyone, if you would like. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can see who I am and remove negative energy that's blocking me still, or if I'm just starting today, that's blocking me, that doesn't serve me now or in my future. Nice and easy. Take a breath. I apologize. Pull in that life force energy and then blow out any negative energies left over. Jason?
And to activate life force so I can have hope to identify and remove the dark energy of my emotional story.
Nice.
It's all possible.
Life force, pull it in and blow it out. And to activate life force so I can trust that I have the power to remove the dark energy from my emotional story without fear. Take a breath. Pull it in, let it go to the tips of your toes, turn it around and blow it out.
And to activate life force so I can decide to focus on removing the negative energy from my emotional story for the rest of my life. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Pull it in and blow it out. And the last one, and to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy and have clarity about what's standing in my way and have great health and have laughter and fun and joy, but also have this knowing of the importance of who I am and the importance of removing negative energy so I can do what I came here to do. Nice and easy. Pull that in and blow it out. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
We're going to talk about channeling Mars.
Oh, okay.
And so understanding dynamic energy and desire, which is a very Martian energy. Okay. So if you've been listening to us for a while, we've been channeling the planets. So in our clearing statements, we always activate life force. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of a generic positive energy. Mm-hmm. But we found just recently, especially we're doing this with Mom, it's been amazing.
Truly.
We take specific planetary energies, not just life force, but specific, and use them in a targeted way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the energies of your natal chart.
No, but it's really it makes it easier to start there.
That's where you can start, yes. But we see that both Patricia and I watch a lot of YouTube videos about living off the grid and being more natural to the
Right.
land and that sort of thing. And we see that energy work that we're teaching you is the ultimate self-sufficiency approach to your
that.
life.
It's true.
People are. I mean, we were just talking to the producer earlier, Sierra, about how much time we're spending in our garden and developing our garden and that all sorts of things. But the most important thing you can do if you live in a city, no matter where you are, is to work on your own energy.
Yes.
Much more important than creating a garden or all those other things, which we do.
We do.
And we enjoy doing them, but this is the most important in terms of being self-sufficient for yourself.
Absolutely.
Watch the show next week. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
So
watch or listen.
If you if there's a buzz going on right now, whether it's
feeling,
I see sometimes I feel butterflies in my gut. Sometimes I feel the top of my ears. When I hear something that I know is just, it's for me, it's something I have to do.
Yes.
This is for you. This is something your essence is saying, your soul is saying, you want this. So go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section. Listen to our show every week. It's all free. You can just start practicing this right now. You don't have to wait. All you have to do is show up and do it. And our Facebook page is theecosystemapproach.org. We have our videos there. Please like us while you're there.
Absolutely. So, and just one more thing, everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. Use the ecosystem approach every single day, because when you sign up, you get a list of the clearings that will help you no matter what's going on in your life.
Start putting those pieces in your puzzle.
That's correct. We'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.